are giant redwood trees. Giant redwoods are the largest trees on Earth, measured by volume. Originally, they only grow in the high-altitude forests of central California, USA. But they also grow in this small park here, in Stuttgart, Germany. Today, Stuttgart is known for its car brands such as Mercedes and Porsche. But things were different when these giant redwoods and their siblings came here 160 years ago. In fact, it took another 20 years until the automobile was invented here in 1886. So these are obviously not the largest trees on Earth. General Sherman in California's Sequoia National Park is currently 10 times bigger. The reason why these trees are so much smaller is easy to explain. They're just 160 years old, whereas in their native habitat, giant redwoods can grow up to 3,000 years old. Although this doesn't sound much in comparison, the age is still remarkable because giant redwoods are only publicly known since around that time. In 1850, 170 years ago, North America wasn't even fully settled yet, and many spots on the maps were still white. California on the west coast, and especially the high mountain forests, were the last unexplored places. And there they found these huge trees which were previously unknown. So it's fascinating that these trees here were planted just a decade after the trees were even globally discovered. To set that into perspective, travel was way harder back then. The fastest way of transportation was a covered wagon or a wooden ship. So it definitely took some effort to get these seeds to Germany, and not everybody could afford it back then. The man who had enough money and enthusiasm for foreign plants was King Wilhelm I. He lived behind me in the new castle in Stuttgart and thought about which plants he wanted in his newly created park, so-called Wilhelma. Of course, the trees, which were just discovered in a new world and could grow larger than anything else, couldn't be left out. Today, 35 of these trees remain in Wilhelma, which is now one of the most visited zoos in Germany. But if you drive through southern Germany, you'll see redwood trees in many different places, and a lot of them are just as old as the ones in Wilhelma. So why were there so many redwood trees planted at the same time all around this region? Legend has it that the reason is a royally messed up misorder. But you have to admit, ordering in the US back then wasn't easy. Dollars were used there and guilders here. Old German was spoken here, and mostly English there. Even the units were not uniform. In southern Germany, a unit called LOT, Lot, was used, which is about 15 grams or half an ounce. Since redwood seeds are really small, a lot of seeds was considered sufficient. Overseas, the local unit LOT lot wasn't known, so they just sent a lot, as ordered. When the order then finally arrived, the king received about a pound of seeds, which is around 100,000 pieces, and his gardeners managed to grow 5,000 seedlings from the seeds. But then he had way too many trees, even for his vast estate, so he gifted them to his fellow dukes and kings all around the region, where the trees started to grow surprisingly well due to the similar climate. Unfortunately, Wilhelm himself did not live to see his trees grow anymore, as he died in the same year and has since found his final resting place in this burial chapel. Today, giant redwoods are popular park trees, which has caused their number in Germany to grow over 13,000. About 130 trees are left from the original Wilhelma seed, but giant redwoods in Germany do not reproduce in nature because they lack forest fires. The heat of the fire causes the mature cones to open. The seeds have a really good chance to grow after the fire, as there are no other plants left on the forest floor. But did you know that even though giant redwoods are very fire resistant, they have really fragile roots that shouldn't be walked on?